you think? What is the cause of human behavior? Where does behavior come from? Your body and biology? Your past and the lessons you've learned from it? Your thoughts and feelings? This is the big question that psychologists seek answers for. Where does behavior come from? Why do you do that? Why do I do that? Why do we do that? Good morning, y'all. Welcome, welcome. Let's talk about the early history of psychology today. The first psychological theorists and the various schools of thought are the main perspectives and subdivisions within psychology that those theorists developed. Now, some early answers to this big question of psychology included Wilhelm Wundt's Structuralism and William James's Functionalism. Wundt recognized that the human brain processes information as we go through life. He wanted to break down human experience into pieces and look at the structure of the experience, the weight and the intensity of sensations. James cared more about how behaviors helped you survive, the function of those behaviors in your life. These two theorists took questions about humanity and the mind from the realm of philosophy to the realm of science, and the field of psychology was born. Now, since then, there have been several major perspectives on how humans worked, and each looked at psychology just a little differently. The next perspective that developed was called psychoanalysis, and this, of course, was Sigmund Freud's baby. Freud's theory was that your behavior, or your mental illnesses and your issues, develop from a conflict between the conscious and the unconscious mind. Freud said that psychology should be attempting to uncover that unconscious mind, to find out what the mind has hidden or repressed, to find out what the psyche is not looking at, because that's where you're going to solve your problems. Carl Rogers, the founder of Humanism, was a student of Freud's, but he thought about behavior in a different way. Rogers suggested that behavior comes from the attempt to be the best possible person that one can be. Rather than inner conflict dictating behavior, the desire to grow and be more is what guides behavior. With this goal in mind, psychology should be looking at how to help each person develop their own unique individual potential. So psychology should be looking at how everybody is different rather than how everybody is the same. Rogers also created client-centered therapy, where the client is really the one that leads and runs the therapy. This tactic has largely continued into today's modern psychology and modern therapies. Another big name in humanism is Abraham Maslow, who created the hierarchy of needs. Maslow suggested that behavior is driven by a series of internal needs, starting with the need to survive and moving through the social needs, ending up with the drive to be your best self, what he called to self-actualize. Now, according to Maslow, psychology should be looking for how an individual's needs are being met and where they are being blocked. Our next perspective is behaviorism. Here we look to Ivan Pavlov, John Watson, B.F. Skinner, and Albert Bandura, who suggest that behavior is learned or trained from your past experiences and/or the consequences of those past experiences. Behaviorists believe that only observable behavior matters. And behaviorism is still very popular today. Classical conditioning underlies everything from dog training to teaching somebody how to do their job at work. Operant conditioning runs deep through our ideas of child care, child rearing, educational rewards, and the building of motivation. Where psychoanalysis is all about the internal and behaviorism is all about the external, cognitive psychology is a little bit of both. Theorists such as Albert Bandura again and Noam Chomsky are big names in cognitive psychology. This is the perspective that behavior comes from a combination of your internal cognitions, thoughts, emotions, feelings, and the processes that your brain does, as well as how you interpret or evaluate those external experiences. Cognitive psychology recognizes that the external is important, but suggests that the internal is equally, if not more important. That it's the combination of the two of these that work together that really give us our human experience. Gestalt psychology is the next big perspective that we're going to talk about. Max Wertheimer, Kurt Koffka, and Wolfgang Kohler all gave us the concept that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The idea here is that we must look at the whole human, the senses, the perceptions, the thoughts, the feelings, and we must look at the interaction between the internal and the external environments to fully understand the human experience. Gestalt psychology also played a big role in understanding perception, how we build our understanding of the world around us. And you can use Gestalt perceptual theories to explain various illusions, which is one of my personal favorite forms of art. Now, let's switch gears just a little bit. Let's move from the mind to the brain with biopsychology, which suggests that the body and our biology is where we should be looking for answers about behavior. As technology advanced and humans were able to start studying more about the internal and the microscopic elements of the body, we start to see more causes for behavior in the biology itself. Biopsychology says that psychology should really be studying the body itself and its ever-changing reactions, and that those reactions are what control your behavior. Biopsychology looks at the nervous system and how it works, the brain or nerve damage, sensory organs, aging, chemical changes, and how all of this affects communication abilities, thinking process, and emotional states. And of course, there's the sleep-wake cycle, which is called the biocircadian rhythm. How does the sleep-wake cycle impact our mood, behavior, decision-making abilities, and abilities to think? Biopsychology also looks at consciousness and what alters the states of consciousness, like hypnosis, meditation, or substances. If it's in the physical, biological organism, biopsychology wants to study it. Next, we move to evolutionary psychology, which is an extension of biopsychology. It's more of a theoretical perspective because it deals with concepts of evolution. It basically says that we should be looking for the roots of behavior in the evolutionary function of that behavior. So we should ask, how does this behavior help this individual survive in the long run? The concept here is that we need to look for the functions of behavior in biology and in evolutionary success. This goes back to functionalism when we ask, what is the function of the behavior? What is the purpose that this behavior does? Now, some of the criticisms of evolutionary psychology are rather strong. First, it is just a theoretical perspective. We really can't test it, which can be a major downfall in psychology and in any science. Another criticism would be the theory's lack of clear definitions. How do we define the word evolution? Are we talking macroevolution, microevolution, evolution as a species, evolutions for individuals, for families? Also, it assumes that there is a set of universal human behaviors that are beneficial for everybody in every situation. And this is not true, and it negates the necessity of human diversity to survive in various geographical locations. So this assumption that there is a universal human and drives that are universal human needs can lead to overgeneralizing and reduce our understanding of the nuances of humanity. Okay, let's go back to our opening question. Based on what you have learned, your previous experiences, any past classes that you've had, and your own life, what do you think causes human behavior? Which school of thought do you gravitate towards? Which one do you think best answers the question, where does behavior come from? If you care to share, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for listening today. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, and if you want to know more, please make sure that you're subscribed. I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day, everyone.